what tools do you guys use as a digital marketing agency? And how exactly do you guys leverage AI to just make your lives and jobs much easier?
Yeah, so like in the digital agency side, I mean, at least for us, the two big ones that, like, I guess three, but the top two is ChatGPT, obviously, and
Hmm.
then Midjourney when it comes to image creation. We don't use a lot of Midjourney stuff because it's still kind of murky waters, but like it's fun to play with.
Hmm.
Um, but then also Opus.pro. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one, but like
I
if you
have.
say, yeah, so you upload a video to it, like YouTube, give it the
Hmm.
link, and then it spits out a bunch of tiny, snippets. Like and we're also tinkering. My graphic designer, she's playing with Firefly inside of Adobe. That thing's
Mm.
insane. I forget what the name of the company was that Adobe bought to be able to do that, but it's insane. But like what the tools really allow us to do is just be more efficient, right? So as long as like with ChatGPT, especially ChatGPT 4, which is like light years ahead of 3.5,
All right.
but with ChatGPT 4, as long as you're prompting it right, and basically you have to treat it like a human being. If I came to you and was like, hey, I need Facebook ad copy for apples, you wouldn't
Hmm.
know what to write. Like, who's it for? What are the benefits? Like, what am I writing it about? Like, so if you treat it like you would a copywriter that you needed to like order work from, it'll spit it out in 30 seconds. And then you can tell it to change the tone, adjust this, adjust that. And you can either use it. Sometimes it spits out stuff that's good enough to literally just copy and paste,
Yes.
or you take it, spend 5 minutes tweaking it. Now you have ad copy that would have originally taken me an hour to 2 hours to, whiteboard out, think about, change, but I can come up with 5 iterations in 5 minutes. Same thing with Google ads. Like I'm able to come up with headlines, 15 headlines under 30 characters each for this product on this website for these kinds of people, and it spits them out like that, and then just little tweaks and they're done. But again, what if like I'd have been sitting here going like, oh my god, I'm on the fifth key, like the fifth headline, what else do I want to put in there? Like I don't know. But so it's
Yeah.
making things so much more efficient, where we can handle so much more at one time. And there's like, did you know that only 14% of like the US population has ever used ChatGPT?
Only 14%. I feel like
Only
everybody uses it. Uh, but that view is just so skewed because based off of, the place that I work and like the people
Mhm.
I interact with, it's you would think that everybody's just using it.
Oh no, you would think so, yeah. But when I heard that, I was like, "What?" But it makes sense because a lot of our clients have never used it. If you're not in like the tech space, you don't use it yet because you don't see a reason to use it yet. Um, so yeah, I mean, those are the big ones we use. The Opus Pro for the quick snippet video editing.
Hmm.
I mean, there's like AI built into like CapCut, the app called Captions. If you want to use that for your
Yeah.
videos, you use those and.
How do you like Opus? Because I've used it and I've uploaded like a YouTube link just to test it out. I don't
Mhm.
like. I think it didn't capture like the viral moments like when I was actually like manually reviewing it. But then again, maybe I'm the problem and the machine actually picked up properly. But what do you think about it?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I've done it a few times, and I think it spit out, I don't know, 5 to 10 different ones where it thinks are better or which ones are good. And it did, out of those like 5 to 10, give me like one or two that I was like, okay, this one might be worth, like this one would probably be worth posting. But the rest, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Or, it
Hmm.
didn't do the split screen and it's just you talking. And I'm like, where's the other guy?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all you hear is like one person talking, and then the other guy, you never see him. Like you actually can hear him, but it never talks.
Hmm.
So I think it's got a ways to go, but it's one I'm keeping my eye on for the short form content of taking long form or turning it into short form.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that they'll eventually upgrade a little bit more. Obviously AI, if it's actual artificial learning and they're implementing machine learning into their systems, then it's gonna get better over time. There's no question
Oh yeah,
about that.
yeah,
It just completely depends on if they're still training their models or not
right,
behind the scenes.
yeah, no, 100%. When we get to AGI, artificial general intelligence, that stuff's going to be a whole different level.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So speaking of that, right? Like, does that ever terrify you, in terms of like a business owner of a social media agency, of that you're just gonna be replaced?
No, and this might sound egotistical or like maybe a little borderline pretentious, but Facebook and Google have spent years trying to dumb down their platforms enough that, for the average Joe, the small business owner, they're still too complicated. Like you have really, really smart, like I know some really smart software people that they think like, oh yeah, this is simple. This UI is easy. Like then everybody should be able to use it. And then I'm like, nah, dude, like they have no idea what you just made. Like
Yeah.
it's, so they're not, like for example, the Facebook boost button was supposed to be make it easier to advertise, and then you have business owners use it, and they're like, Facebook ads don't work. And I find out, well, they're using the boost button. It's like, oh, well, that's because that's actually kind of like inevitably screwing you. Um,
How's it screwing you?
well, because they're limited on their interest targeting. They can't even usually pick an objective half the time. It's like let Facebook
Mm.
decide for you, and so it's ultimately screwing them in the long run to get actual results if they're just boosting their social media posts. Um, so for me, I'm not worried about it. Because we are actively involved with AI. Like we've been using ChatGPT since November of last year. Bought 4.0 the minute it came out. Midjourney was on that with the graphic designers, and so we're staying up on it as much as we can because those people who don't are going to be left in the dust because that unfortunately guys like myself who are staying up on it and we're building efficiencies and systems around it,
Mhm.
we can handle 3 times the workload than anybody else, and I don't have to charge an arm and a leg. So I'm
Yes.
passing a lot of the savings on to the clients as well because it's like we're not have to spend that much time doing all this stuff as we did before, so let's go ahead and pass it on. But the biggest thing is like the average person, I think, knowing that 14% of the population is even use ChatGPT, the next 3 to 5 years, yeah, things will change, but it's still not. You're going to have to know how to communicate with it. So
Hmm.
even with Google's generative AI that I saw a video yesterday on for their Google ads, it's still conversational. You still have to feed it the right info for
Correct.
it to create a good ad.
Right.
So that's where I think a lot of agencies need to really start at least not pivoting, but like really understanding how to prompt, how to communicate, how to build it and work with AI. Um, Now, if I was a copywriter, hell yeah, I would be worried.
Okay. So you would be worried. What about a graphic designer?
Graphic designer and video editors are going to be interesting because yeah, graphic design, Midjourney's coming a long ways, Firefly's coming a long ways to where, a guy like me that I barely know enough about Photoshop to, even cut things out, but they're
Hmm.
making it so stupid easy. Um, Video editing, they're coming out. I think Adobe's coming out with something for Premiere where before you'd have to line up the audio. Like say you're doing a podcast like this, but we're in the
Uh-huh.
same room and you have the two cameras facing you and the two audio tracks, and you'd have to sync them up and then cut back and forth. Like no, it'll
Yep.
do it like that.
Yeah.
I've seen
There's
I've seen
actually
videos of it. I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's actually, I mean, so obviously we're recording on Riverside right now, and they have an AI feature where it'll go like whoever's talking, it'll switch to
Mhm.
their screen. It's complete dog shit, but like I apologize for shitting on Riverside. It's complete as. I've tried it, I've used it before, but in the editing process, it doesn't work really.
Mm-mm.
But I know that eventually it'll get there. And also, there's also a add-on to Final Cut Pro that you
Mm.
can actually buy that somebody developed that'll actually no, I think it's for Premiere Pro. So exactly what you're talking about, and you could just it'll just cut up the entire video for you based on and just show whoever's actually talking.
Yeah,
So it's great. It's super cool.
yeah. It's scary. It's like scary cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, if I was those guys, I'd be a little worried. It's yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to